Hey everyone, welcome to the KE Report, a company update from Aztec Minerals. Going to be recapping some recent drill results from the Tombstone Project. First two holes from this year's initial 2,000 meter program that has just been increased to 3,000 meters. I'm also going to post figure one from the recent news release on November 21st that outlines where these drill results come from, a general overview of the Tombstone Project, and where some of the future drilling in this year's program is coming from. Chatting with Simon Dyakowski, President and CEO of Aztec Minerals. Company is traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol AZT and on the OTCQB under the symbol AZZTF. Simon, let's talk about these first two holes from this program. They're step-out holes from the contention pit, as we can see in figure one. That's where a lot of the drilling has been completed to date. You and I have talked a lot about the contention pit and a lot about how this year's program is also focused more on that Westside target. But let's talk about these first two holes. Hole one was the best hole out of the two, 0.75 grams per ton gold equivalent over 103 meters, some higher grade components within that. Take us through what hole one is doing for potential expansion of mineralization here.
Yeah. Hey, Corey, thanks so much for having me on the show today to go through the recent results. And we were very excited to release the first two holes of the ongoing drill program at Tombstone. Hole one and two were step outs from the main central part of the contention open pit zone. And they were excellent results. They showed us that the mineralization continues to grow as we step out to the west, very simply over wide widths and very consistently mineralized. So if you look at the cross section on hole one, you can see, a really nice cross section there, 103 meters or 100, almost 104 meters, averaging 0.75 grams per ton gold equivalent. And hole two is, in fact, also hit a decent result. But within hole one, we had a higher grade portion, about 115 meters down the hole, which was 15 meters of over 3 grams gold equivalent. And hole two had a nice section in it, which was 7.6 meters of almost 2 grams gold equivalent. So both holes were solid. Great start for the program. We were very careful about the drill rig that we selected for this program. We didn't delay things. We took our time to make sure that we didn't rush. And as a result of that, we were able to get a very capable crew and machine. We've been very impressed with their speed and accuracy and ability to deliver drill holes for us at Tombstone. And this is very important in this kind of setting. The Bisbee group sediments are known to drillers as being some of the most challenging rocks to drill through, in the Western US. It's not like drilling through, solid greenstone up in Canada or anything like that. It's very, very challenging at times, even in the absence of hitting workings, which in the case of Tombstone is something that you have to always be prepared for. So we've been super, super pleased with the drill. And off the back of the first two results and off of the visual observations of the subsequent number of drill holes that we put in, we did decide to go ahead and expand the drill program by 50%. So that is ongoing, the drilling. We've drilled now two-thirds of our now 3,000 meter program, and we'll be drilling now starting tomorrow. The drillers come back after break, and we'll be drilling all the way through to Christmas, which is exciting. We've really had, very technically sound program thus far.
So Simon, let's also quickly talk about hole two. Didn't carry the same grade. It is a lower grade intercept, but over a longer width, almost 150 meters. More color on this hole. What does this hole tell you about the system?
Well, if you look at, this isn't in the news release that we're discussing, but you can basically see the traces of the previous drilling on the targets that were further to the east of hole two and one. And essentially we're hitting the same structure that runs about 1 kilometer north-south. And this is just telling us what we already knew, is that these dikes that carry a lot of the grade, the Empire Dike, that as it's historically known as, and the Contention Dike, they pinch and swell as they run north-south through the system. So you do get a bit of variation as you drill along a fence. So it's really not surprising that the grade's a little bit lower here and a little bit higher in hole one. We've seen that in all of our other drill holes that run north-south through this area. What's really significant, though, is that it expands to the west. And that's what we continue to see. And we've seen no indication that it cuts off anywhere to the west. And our subsequent first pass drilling through some targets in the Westside target area proper, we hope will continue to unfold this story of growth to the west.
Okay, let's look to that figure one then, because the red dots, those are the holes within this news release. And then really the focus of this year's program, the green dots, those ones are, I believe, completed drill holes still to be released. And the blue, more proposed drill holes. Take us through the pattern here. It looks like you're still sticking fairly close to the contention pit, but starting to work more west into that west side area.
Yeah, that's correct. So, a main focus of the project was to continue stepping out from the contention pit towards the west side. And we're largely completing some targets that we had in our program last year, but we're unable to drill due to technical difficulties with the rig that we had on site. So that's a lot of the green dots that have been drilled that are, they're step outs from the pit, though, to be clear. They're no longer in the pit. But then you can see there's, a dozen other targets along a couple of the structures that reside within the west side area. So we are drilling some of those. Those are targets that we've selected based off of our geologic and 3D modeling that has been completed over the past year and a half. So you will see a number of those targets drilled over the coming weeks. Beyond that, we'll see what we see. But I think if any of them hit, then it will really change the dynamics here to show some real size potential to this patented land package that we have in southeastern Arizona.
So with this expansion of the program, a 50% larger program, an additional 1,000 meters of drilling, where are those additional holes going to be focused?
We'll drill a couple in the south pit that are step outs and infilling a little bit of knowledge gap in the south pit, which hasn't seen much drilling. There are going to be a couple of holes in the west side mine area proper. That's the furthest rectangle to the west that you can see there. And then there are a couple of holes planned for the anticline, the west side anticline, and that's the sort of the northernmost rectangle. And then very, very far west, if anybody's watching as I'm dictating along the map here, there's kind of one hanging out there slightly southwest of where it says west side area. That's the historic Tribute mine, and that is the confluence of a number of well mineralized structures, we believe. So we're going to do a hole there. So that one I'm quite interested in. Personally, I'm excited to see, because if that one hits anything interesting, that really expands the width of this target area here and should hopefully give us support to continue to drill it through next year and put together some ounces eventually.
So a lot of this drilling, especially this drilling in this west side area, this can be, or can we consider this just true exploration drilling? And if you hit anything out there, it would be considered a new discovery?
I mean, I don't know if you'd call it a new discovery, because a lot of these targets are oriented around historic mines. Obviously very historic mines that are 150 plus years, but I wouldn't call these step outs anymore. These are first pass exploration targets of structures that we've identified. So it's not like a blind target, obviously, but I think it has elements of new discovery to it, especially in the context of today's metal price environment and the advancements in open pit heap leach mining over the past few decades. So these are old mines with modern, up-to-date exploration and drilling techniques being applied.
Okay, so the news release says you've completed 10 RC holes to date. As you said, that was a large portion of the initial program, but now that you've upsized it, about 2/3 of the way through here. What's the assay turnaround time like? So far, we only have these two results to point to.
Yeah, the assays have been a little bit slower than we were used to, unfortunately. And what's happened is we have a very quick turnaround on the gold results. However, the multi-element results have taken several weeks longer, and that's simply because the gold is assayed in Mexico in Hermosillo. And then the prep samples are taken up to Vancouver. So we do, I'm pretty sure we're getting faster turnaround times than samples that are shipped directly to Vancouver. But once the prep samples are delivered to the Vancouver lab, we still have to wait in queue a little bit. So it's not terrible, but it's not like, 3 weeks after shipment that we're getting the results. So I think we're going to have a real, flurry of results in January and February. And before we were thinking that it would be more in November and December, but because of the delays at the Vancouver part of the lab, we just we're faced with that reality that it's going to take a little bit longer to get them back.
Okay. Yeah, that's more what I was going on. When we might start seeing some more results as the drilling continues, but sounds like they are on tap. So I'll follow up with you when we get some more of those results. Everyone, click that link in the show notes. Visit the company's website, read over the news release, send me any questions you have for Simon. Again, Simon Dyakowski, President and CEO of Aztec Minerals. Simon, thanks for the update today.
Well, thanks very much for the opportunity, Corey. Have a great day. Appreciate it.